In this video lecture, we are going to see the neural modeling for artificial neural systems. Okay, now what does this mean? Basically, we are going to convert what is studied in the previous video lectures. We are going to convert this into a neural structure, an artificial neural system. Okay, so based on our understanding of a biological neuron, we are going to convert this into a practical artificial neuron. Okay, so for that I am going to draw a circuit. Now please note that, please try to remember all the things that we had studied about biological neuron. Okay, so there is going to be cell body which is going to have an output. Okay, now this is basically your neuron processing node. Okay, like how you have the nucleus and body and soma. Okay, this is what we depict over here. Okay, now these will have inputs coming into dendrites and synapses, right? So those I'm going to draw here as input. Okay, and so on. There can be many. Fine, there can be many. So f of wtx. What is this f of wtx? Okay, f of wtx is the function, the activation function. Now, as I told you, all the neurons will only fire. The biological neuron used to fire only when it crosses some particular threshold, right? If you cross some particular threshold, some amount of threshold, it will fire, right? So, in that case, in this case, for it to fire, it has to satisfy, it has to, overcome this particular threshold value for this artificial neuron. And that is governed by this function. The function defines how the artificial neuron will behave. Okay? How it is supposed to behave, in what way. Now here I did write x1, x2 and all up to xn are the input values. The input values, and w1, w2 and so on till wn are the weights of the synapses. Okay, basically these are nothing but your synaptic connections that we had. Okay, they are nothing but the synaptic connections that we had. Okay, so weights and neurons, the weights and the neurons threshold are fixed in a model. Okay, we are actually fixed in a model, so no interaction among neurons takes place except for signal flow. Okay, now when the signal is given, when the signal flow it's fixed for that particular stage. Okay, we cannot change it in between. Okay, and every neuron model consists of a processing element with synaptic input connections. That is what I have drawn over. It connects in a synaptic input connection and a single output. That is what is present in every neuron model. And the signal flow of neurons, that happens from input side, it goes here like this. Okay, there is a signal flow like this, right? And it is considered as unidirectional. Okay, there is no reverse over here. It is only in one direction. And the neuron output is given by O. O is nothing but will be the function f wt x. Okay, this is how it is going to be your output. Now we'll just look into this function and how does it behave. Okay, we'll just go into a little bit of mathematics regarding this. Okay, now, so what we had over here, we have written O equals f of wtx. Now what is wt? Basically wt is a transpose of the weight. Okay, f of summation. Now why I am going to write summation, I'll tell you. I going from 1 to n, because how many weights are, how many inputs are there? It's not just not one weights and one input, are many. So there are n weights and n input vector, n inputs, right? So that's why we have wixi. Wixi, function of one function summation of 1 going to n, wixi. Now wt is nothing but what I told you. Wt is the weight vector. It is a weight vector. It's a weight vector, and that is defined as w going from where to where? W1, W2, so on till Wn, right? This is your weight vector, this is and then x is the input vector. X is what? Your input vector, right? X is your input vector. So x will be nothing but x1, x2 and so on till xn. Okay, now all vector column vectors and D represents what? The WT here T represents the transpose. Okay, this is the transpose of the vector. So now the function is referred as an activation function. Now this function over here is referred as, what is it? This is nothing but activation function. This is one of the most important thing in your neural systems. Okay, activation function. Fine. Now this is your activation function. And then now let's call that as net. Okay, activation value. So it's a set of activation values. We'll have set of activation values as net. Okay. So how we write this? I'm just going to write this again. F of net, okay, equals F of WTX. This is how you write. Okay. Now here net is what? Net is nothing but WTX, right? WTX, net is what basically? It is multiplication of two vectors, that is WT to X. These are column vectors. See, you cannot multiply directly two column vectors. So we take a transpose, okay? This should be multiplication, right? So we take a transpose of weight vector and multiply to input vector, that is X. That is your net value. And F net will be the activation function. Now this, how does this activation function look? So there are different kinds of activation functions. Look into that in this lecture itself. Okay, and net will be, this will give you a scalar value, by the way. This will have a scalar value. Okay, it will have a scalar value, right? Well, it's a scalar product of the weight vector and the input vector. As I told you earlier, it's a scalar product. And the argument of activation function and variable net is, it is basically an analog. It is analogous or similar to biological neurons, membrane potential. See, we have also talked about membrane potential, right, in the previous biological neurons. What happens is, how it activates. That is, we are trying to replicate that based on this kind of activation function in the artificial neural network. So as you observe the equation, okay, the processing node performs the operation of summation. Okay, it performs the operation of summation over here, right? It performs summation of its 8 inputs, okay, or it's basically a scalar product of computation to obtain the net value, right? So now there are different kinds of activation functions which we'll just going to see now. I go ahead. Okay, so yeah, now let's look into different kinds of activation functions. Okay, f of net equals 2 upon 1 plus exponential minus lambda net, okay, minus lambda net minus 1. Just write this again. Okay. Lambda net. Okay. And another one is, another activation, f of net equals signum net. Okay, I'll tell you what is signum. Plus 1 or minus 1 if net is greater than 0, if net is less than 0. Okay, now these are typical activation functions. These are both typical activation functions of your artificial neural model. Now what are these? What are the names of this? Now this is bipolar continuous. Bipolar continuous activation function, and here this one is bipolar binary activation function. Okay, now bipolar continuous, as the name suggests, it has a continuous range of values. You can see over here this is a continuous range of values. Now what is lambda, by the way? Okay, lambda is nothing but it's a steepness. It controls the steepness of the continuous activation of the continuous function, that is f net. Okay. So as lambda becomes infinity, it will become what? It will become signum net. When lambda becomes infinity, it will become signum net, because obviously, right? I'll just draw how it looks like to show you. Now this one, f net, it will look like somewhat like this. Okay, it will look like somewhat like this. Your bipolar acquisition function. Okay, now this is on the y-axis you have f of net, and this is your net. Net is your on the x-axis. Okay, now different values 1, 2 and 3, and here this will go up till -1. If it is infinity, lambda is minus infinity, it will go to -1, and on top here it can go up till 1. So it looks like somewhat like this. Okay, 1 second, just redraw it. Yeah. Okay, now this is your bipolar continuous activation function. Now what will happen for this? Now this is +1 or minus. If net is greater than 0, it is +1. This is 0 point, right? And if it is less than 0, it is -1. So let's draw this. It's going to be like this. This is +1 and this is your -1. And this is your net. This is your f net. This is what? This is your bipolar binary activation function. So what happens in the case of unipolar? In case of unipolar, what will be the thing? I'll just write down with another color. Okay. Now, if it's unipolar is basically you want to shift it. Now, all values will be positive. Unipolar is nothing but it will have only kind of value, that is positive values. So f net will become f net for unipolar continuous. Okay, unipolar continuous, it will look like this: 1 upon 1 plus exponential minus lambda net. Okay, minus lambda net. Oh, one thing, I didn't write minus over here. Just take that into consideration. This is minus lambda net. Okay, this part. Okay, that is for bipolar continuous is minus lambda net. Here also is minus lambda net. Okay, this is your unipolar and unipolar continuous. Unipolar continuous. Okay, and bipolar. Unipolar binary. Okay, unipolar binary will be what? F of net equals, it will be what? There will be only two values, 1 and 0. So this is for net greater than 0, and this is for net less than 0. Okay, this is basically acting as a threshold function, right? Threshold value. So this is what we have, and how this will look like? This will roughly look like this, because unipolar function, okay, it's a unipolar function, right? So how will it look like? I'll just draw it here. All the values will be on top. Okay, this is how your unipolar function. This is your f net, and this is your net. And similarly over here, how will this look like? This will be a 1, so, and this will be your 0. Okay? Fine? This is your f net. This is unipolar binary. Okay, so these are the activation functions. So soft limiting activation function are called as sigmoidal characteristics. Okay, so these are nothing but all this unipolar continuous and unipolar bipolar continuous are soft limiting activation functions. Okay, and they have a sigmoidal characteristics. Right? These are soft. Okay. Soft limiting functions. Why soft limiting function? Because at the zeroth point they are taking continuous values, right? So there is no break, there is no discontinuity. So this is soft limiting function. Your continuous functions are soft limiting. So over here, bipolar functions, what do you have? They are hard limiting functions. Hard limiting because they take a jump. they have a jump in between, right? So these are hard limiting functions. Okay. Now any activation function which is monotonically increasing, okay? If any activation function is monotonically increasing like this continuous function, it has continuous net which belongs to R, okay, and it can be used in neural model. If it is a continuous function and it has all the value, it can be used in neural model. What does that mean? What does that mean? If f of net equals, okay, or sorry, not even, belongs to, so not equals, belongs to between -1 to 1, if it belongs to -1 to 1, okay, it can be used for neural model. If it is a continuous function, that net should belong, the value of net should belong a set of R. R is what? R is set of real values. If you know the mathematics, mathematics, it should be continuous and R should be set of real values. So if the net belongs to this and f of net belongs to between, if f of net belongs between -1 to 1, this is the first condition and this is the second condition. If both of those conditions are satisfied, if the activation function satisfies these two conditions, it can be used in neural model. Okay? Can be used in neural model. Okay, this is one of the conditions we have. Fine. Now we'll go to something called as, now we'll see different kinds of activation functions, okay, that can be, used according to this. Okay. Before that, I just want to talk about a few things. Now, as you can see, the activation functions can be bipolar, it can be discrete, it can be a discrete or it can be continuous, as you have seen in with the figures that I've drawn. Okay, neuron output can be either discrete or continuous. And given the layer of neurons, the output can be, okay, wait. So, before going to that, I'll just draw two more diagrams on how binary perceptron, that hard limiting function is drawn. So, in artificial neural models, how do you depict this? How do you denote this? Soft limiting and hard limiting activation functions, how do you denote this? Okay. So for hard limiting, that is binary perceptron, we call it binary perceptron, we have something like this. Okay. Now because obviously this is hard limiting, it will be 1 and this is bipolar. What is that? It is bipolar binary. Okay, and output will depend on weight and it depends on what? Weights and the input values. So this is your net that is calculated and this will give you your F net. Okay, I'm just drawing a block a diagram which shows how we denote this in practically, how we denote this in an artificial neural model. Okay. These are inputs x1, x2 till xn, and then obviously there are weights w1, w2 and going up till wn. Okay, and this is your summing node. This is your summing node. Okay, now what is this? This is nothing but binary, binary perceptron. Why it's called binary? Binary because there are two values, it will go between 1 and -1. And this is called nothing but as TLU, that is threshold logic unit. Now all of this together comes under what? This comes under what? This comes under hard limb function. This is called as hard limb. Hard limb. What is hard limb is a short form for hard limiting function. Hard limiting function. Okay. Now similarly you have something in the continuous domain. So the continuous domain, what do we have? In the continuous domain, we are going to draw, it is denoted by this. Okay. O will again depend on W and X, right? Now this is your soft limiting, I'm just writing this down. It's a soft limiting activation function. Okay? Please remember. So it's a continuous perceptron. You can also write it as continuous perceptron. Now please remember these names. What I'm writing over here is important because any of the names will be used in the problems that are asked in the question papers. Any of the names will be used, so you should remember what it is and what it denotes. Okay? Similar to that, we have input and of inputs, and the weights will be W1, W2 and Wn. Okay, so this is your summing function that it does. Okay, this is how you denote hard limiting and soft limiting activation neurons. Okay, yeah. So now we'll just go to different artificial neuron models. Different artificial neuron models. Oh, sorry. I'll just clear this. Yeah. So different artificial neural models. First is identity function. Identity. What does the name suggest? What does the name tell you? Identity function. It is nothing but f of net equals to net. When f of net equals to the net value, that is called as identity function. Now we have non-negative identity function. That means we don't want negative values. So how would it look like? Non-negative identity function. F of net equals max. Maximum between 0 and net. See, net will be a scalar value, it will be a real value. Net should always belong to R. So it will have from 0 and values of x. So if you want, net belongs to real values. Not 0, okay. It belongs to real values. So here what we do is, f of net will be maximum between 0 and net. Okay. So if net is negative value, it is between -1 to 0, it will take it as 0. So by this what you see, it will become non-negative. So either it will be 0 or above 0. That is what is your f net. Now for constant function, now third one is constant function. Now what happens in constant function? F of net equals C. F of net equals C is some constant value. Okay. So whatever you give, the output will be this constant. Okay. Now these are the three most simplest neuron models. Now we come to the actual neural models that we'll be using. Okay. We'll be using different these mathematical functions. Okay. Fourth one. Step function. What is step function? F of net equals A and B. Okay. Now let's say if net is less than C, and here if net is greater than C. Okay. Now I'll draw the diagram on the side, how this activation function looks like. F of net, and this is net, your x values will have all net, while this is f of net. Now this will look like this. It's a step function, right? So this is basically off, and this can be on. It can be used as a binary also. Okay. So now this is your, what is this? This value is your b. This height is going to be b, and this height is going to be a. And over here, this is your c. This point is c, or basically nothing but this. This is your c. So look at that. F net equals, it will become a. The value will be a. The value will be a or b. So where will be a? If net is less than c, okay, the values, if the value lies between over here, it will become a. If values lies between here, it will become b. So these values above c. So this is like a thresholding function. is your step function. That is what your step function behaves like. Now we'll go to fifth one, another activation function, that is ramp function. All of these you can try to recollect from where? From another subject that had, that is your signals and systems in second year that had. Okay. Now how does ramp function look like? F of net equals, what is it? It will also obviously have some values. Okay. Now it's not a simplest ramp function. I'll tell you how it looks like. The equation might put you off, but it's very simple. If net is greater than C, and here this will be if net is greater than D. So there's not one function, one threshold. It's a C and D are two thresholds. It's a ramp function, right? It's going to be a ramp function. So there will be a ramp somewhere, and that ramp is this, the third condition. We have otherwise. Okay, I'll just draw this, how it looks like, then it will give you a better idea. Okay, now this is your F net on your y-axis and net on your x-axis. So this looks like somewhat like this. Okay, so what is this? This is nothing but A. This is your B. Okay, and here this point over here will be D. And this point will be your C. Right? So if it is less than C, this point, net is less than C, it will be A. So if it lies anything between this, it will be A, and beyond D, it will be B. So this is A here, this is B here. But in between this region that you have, if it lies over here, it will behave according to this equation. That is basically nothing but it's a ramp. It's a ramp. It's an equation of lying with a slope. Okay? So this was your ramp function. Now we'll go ahead to the next one. Sigmoidal function that you have. Sigmoidal function. Okay, this will be like this. I have drawn the activation function directly. Okay. This is your sigmoidal function. Now this sigmoidal function, we have already seen this. Okay. So how does it look like? There are different ways of defining the sigmoidal function, different mathematical ways. Okay. So let's call this as B. The maximum value that it can take is B. The maximum value that it can take here is A. Okay. When limit net tends to infinity, when it goes to infinity, positive infinity, f of net will become what? F of net will be equal to B. And when limit net tends to minus infinity, your f of net will become A. That's very clear, right, from this diagram. When this goes to infinity, it will become A, and this goes to infinity, it will become B. This is your net, by the way, and this is your f net on y-axis. Okay, is that clear? This is your sigmoidal function. What we have previously seen in the bipolar continuous also is a sigmoidal function, the type sigmoidal function. Now, next, let's go to the next one. Next one is piecewise linear. Now, piecewise linear, you must have also remember, if you remember, it's not just in signal systems, it's also there in when you're trying to piecewise model your diode. In EDC, you must have learned about piecewise linear model, right, of a diode. So similar to that, we have piecewise linear model over here. Piecewise linear model. Okay. In this case, what we're doing, the linear function depends on the region of input space, and it's basically like a step or ramp function. Okay, instead of having this curve, what we have, we are going to take some value in between, and not exactly follow the curve. So it's going to be somewhat like this. Okay, so this is a approximation of that curve. So this becomes your piecewise linear model. Okay, and it will depend on what? The step and ramp function, are basically step and ramp function special cases. Step function and ramp function are special cases of piecewise linear. These are special cases of piecewise linear, because obviously this will look like a ramp function. If you look at it like this, it will be a ramp function. If you make it like this, it becomes step function. This will basically it comes under piecewise linear function. Okay. Now, the last one over here in this activation functions that we are going to see is Gaussian function. Gaussian function obviously will follow what? A Gaussian model, right? Gaussian activation, it will have a bell-shaped curve, right? It will have a bell-shaped curve. You have studied Gaussian functions and Gaussian values in communications, okay? Analog communications. So it will have a bell-shaped curve, and its formula or activation function is given by f net 1 by root of 2 pi sigma. Okay, this sigma is not under the root. Fine. Then exponential, obviously it's a type of exponential function, upon 1 minus half net minus mu. Okay, net minus mu upon sigma. Net minus mu upon sigma, and this is the whole square over here after the first bracket. Okay, this is used in radial basis functions. The Gaussian function is used in radial basis functions. We'll come to radial functions later. Okay, so how does this look like? This look like somewhat like this. Now here mu is 0. I've drawn with mu equal to 0. That is, this is your center part. Mu is the mean part, right? And this is a bell-shaped curve. This is your net on y-axis, and this is your net on x-axis. Fine. So these are your activation functions that we have seen. Okay. Next, we'll see neural learning in the next video lecture. Thank you.